Hi, my name is Joshua from Tag. It's so good to be back, and I want to welcome everybody to my channel. For those who have been following closely videos uploaded on this channel, let me take a mind back to the previous video I uploaded on data frames, how to create a typical data frame in R, and some basic functions you can use when working with data frame in R programming. So what exactly are we doing today? What we are doing today is to learn more on how to import dataset files from different softwares into our R Studio platform. So before we do that, let me quickly talk on this particular concept, very important, the concept of working directory. So when you hear working directory, what exactly is working directory? Working directory is nothing but just a file path on our computer system that sets the default location of any file that we want to read into R or export out of R. So for instance, when you open your R Studio platform, how do you know the exact folder on your system that R Studio is connected to? So we have a function from the base package called getwd. And what does this function do? The function returns an absolute file path representing the current working directory of the R process. So if I click on this particular thing and I run it, it tells me the file path that my R is connected to at the moment is the document folder. And so by default on all our systems, when you like by default, the folder R is connected to is always document, and you can always change that. You can go to tools, global options, and then you can change that all around. You can go to browse here. For me, mine is set by default to document, and then you can change yours around, but for me there is no need for this. Then I go down, then I cancel. So that is how you can get the default working directory that your R Studio is connected to. So for instance, I want to read a certain file into R Studio, and this file is not present in the document folder. Let's take, for instance, let me go to my Explorer, and then let's say this is document, but the file I want to read in is in the folder inside document, for instance, as we have Olakunle, and then we now have R tutorial. So let's take, for instance, this is what I want to read into R. How do I set the working directory in such a way that R can directly read this particular CSV file into R Studio? So I go back and then I use this particular function again from the base package, setwd, and then I say directory equals, so I can copy everything we have here. That is, this is the default. You can just say default, but I copy it. I choose to copy. And then I paste it. So what are we going to do next? We use the /. So the / tells you that you are directing it from the folder document to Olakunle, and then another / again to R tutorial. So I go back, then I say Olakunle. You have to spell it the way it is spelled. Don't forget R is case sensitive. So then I'll say R space tutorial, and so I can easily run this. So when I run it and I go back to check my working directory, I can see that R is now set to tutorial. Let's take, for instance, that I want to read a certain data set, so I can call it A, and I say read.csv. we still treat this in the subsequent video. Read.csv, and that particular file is called students. Because it is in that particular folder, I will just press tab, and then it suggests everything for me, and then I run it. So this is a data set that contains 1000 observations of 8 variables. So what we have just done, the procedure we have just used is the absolute method. So we can also use the relative method. So the relative method is more like you building on an existing defined file path. So for instance, just as we have getwd, just as we have it set to tutorial, let's take, for instance, I want to take it back to document to explain this concept of setting the relative concept of changing our working directory. So I take it back to document. If I run this, I have it back as document. So I can easily say setwd. So in this case, I don't need to say directory equals this. I just put what I want, and then I use what we call an identifier. So in our programming, we have two types of identifiers. We have the full stop, and then we have the tilde sign. So I'm going to use the full stop first, and then I say this. I use this /, and then I say Olakunle. So if I run this, it sets a working directory to Olakunle. So go back to the code on line 8 and run it. You could see the working directory is set to Olakunle. I can go back again. For us to understand that concept of identifier, I can choose to take it back to document, the working directory to document, run. You will see it back to document. So in this place now, I'm not going to use the full stop. I'm going to use the tilde. That's the second type of identifier we have in our programming. So if I run this and then check the working directory, you will see that it is set again back to Olakunle. And so if you have any kind of data set in Olakunle that you want to read into R, then you can use your functions like the read.csv that we have just used, or read_csv, as the case may be, and then you use that in importing, in reading that particular data set you want to read into R. So at this point, I want to believe we've gained something. So in the next video, we'll be talking extensively on how you can read different formats of files from different softwares into our programming. So please keep your eye on the channel for the next video. Once again, I want to appreciate you for taking out time to learn our programming with me, and I want to believe God will bless you. Do have a great day. Bye bye.